Hi guys, Leigh here from Tasmania Training Centres. Just a quick video for you guys for stretching. So to give you, I guess, a good base to start for your stretching, so you can progress to good high kicks and have some good flexibility to also avoid injury. So three basic stretches that we're going to look at today, and one simple method in order to apply to that type of stretching. So there's a lot of information out there in the world of physical fitness and stretching, and I guess we've got to look at what type of stretching do we want, what best suits us for what we need to do. So one of the unique things, I guess, for us is that we're using, or we need, the range of flexibility within the muscle group whilst it's under contraction. So because we're striking, the muscle's contracting at that point in which we're developing energy and striking, or perhaps you're looking at a different format with grappling and those types of martial arts where you've got high leg positions and you're required to put that muscle under contraction in what would be an unusual position at times. So and that's high leg positions, legs pull quite far apart, and so forth. So the three basic stretches we're going to look at today within the program will only include the hip flexor, the hamstring, and the adductors. So those are the three most important stretches for us as martial artists for what we want to achieve. So Pnf stretching is a method that we want to look at. So there's passive stretching, which is where you're sitting or standing, the muscles relax, and you're breathing into your stretch and relaxing to get that stretch in that muscle group. Pnf is different, where we contract the muscle group. So it's been around for a long time. I did it over 30 years ago, and I credit it to the reason why I don't need to stretch so much these days, and I've maintained a good level of flexibility without having to do too much work. It's been around for a long time. You see sometimes some bouncing within that stretching with the Pnf as well. That's also okay. There's been contradictory information that says you shouldn't do that. I just say work with what feels right for you. Stretching's meant to be uncomfortable. There is meant to be some discomfort, but we're not looking at pain. It shouldn't be painful. You shouldn't feel any of that tearing sensation and so forth. So Pnf stretching, what is it? It stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Wow, what a big word. So basically what we're doing is we're contracting the muscle group that we're stretching. That's what you're doing. So you're holding it under contraction as you stretch, and then you're relaxing, and then you're stretching further. Then you're contracting that muscle group and holding it under tension, you relax, and then you stretch again. So traditionally, I guess, what I've been subject to is contractions of around about 3 to 4 seconds with a similar pause in between before repeating the process. Normally cycling at about 4 times. Obviously you can do more, and I used to when I was younger and got great results. But there are other methods, I guess. And I'm going to give you 2 base methods to work from, and you can choose whichever one is best suited for you. One of the things, I guess, that's never been addressed, well, I certainly haven't come across it. It may have been somewhere else, but I haven't come across that information, particularly in earlier days, is the intensity of the contraction in the muscle that you're stretching. So how much do you contract it? Do you contract it 100%? Is it 50%? How much tension should you put into it? Sometimes I think if you go 100% straight off the bat as you start, it just doesn't feel right, and it could lead to injuries. I wouldn't disagree. So this program here certainly supports a staggering method where we increase the intensity throughout the stretching. So method 1 is a 5-second contraction. So you're going to contract the muscle group that you're stretching for 5 seconds. You're then going to have a 3 to 5 second pause before doing the second and third lot of contractions. So we're looking at 3 contractions. We can double up on those groups and make it 6, and I'll explain myself a little bit further. So 5-second contraction. The first contraction that you'll do will be 30 to 40%. So a 30 to 40% muscle contraction. We're not going for 100% tension. So then you're going to release. The second time, you're then going to progress to 50 to 60% of muscle contraction for that 5-second period again. And then on the third you're going to go to 100% contraction. Now, if we're doubling up, as I just previously mentioned, then we're going to do each one of those twice. So 2 lots at 30 to 40%, then another 2 at 50 to 60%, and the last 2 contractions both at 100%. So 100%, then you're resting, and then 100%. So that's method 1. Method 2, I would prefer, again, depending on your experience and what feels right for you. And that's a contraction of 10 to 12 seconds, so a longer duration. Same intensity in regard to the contraction, so 30 to 40%, then 50 to 60, and then 100%. And again, if you're going to do a double up, you do 30 to 40% twice, 50 to 60% twice, 100% twice. You get the idea. So that's your basis for your stretching program. That's all you need to do. So from there, we've got 3 basic stretches that we're going to operate from. I'll include some photos in this briefly. I don't believe, well, without moving some equipment, maybe I'll do that. I'll be able to show you all of the stretches. So there are standing and seated versions. For the first couple, I prefer the standing methods. I prefer that because we're standing when we're kicking. So getting used to balancing and stretching from that position, I think it just makes more sense as opposed to just sitting on the ground and going from there. So first one we're going to look at, I'll just move the duck up a little bit so I can use that. And again, it doesn't matter what you use, it's just to prop your leg up so you can get that elevation for the stretch. You can also do this with a partner, and it might be something I'll cover in another video at some other time. So the first one's in regard to your hamstring. So you're looking at that hamstring stretch. Now you might do 1 cycle of this and find that you've got a lot or an increased range in your stretching, and then you might move up to the next one. So you elevate that leg higher and go through those stretches, all those contractions again. So you can either grab onto the device that you're balancing on. I'd probably encourage you, if you've got stability here, to grab onto the stretching limb, and then you're going to go through those contractions. So if I was going to do the 5-second one example, I'd contract the quadricep, hamstring, all those muscles in the legs, holding that at an intensity of 30-40% for 5 seconds, then releasing, then moving to 50-60%, and then 100%. And feel free to cycle through that as many times as you can, but you don't have to. As a base, 3 times, and then we move on. So that's for the hamstring. Okay, the next lot's the adductors on the inside. So the adductors are used, as we see, in a side split. So you're doing the same thing from this position. Be careful not to lean forward here. I think it's best you straighten up as you do when you're kicking, and you feel all these other muscle groups come into activation. So you want to feel that entire stretch as you're doing that. So again, repeating that process, either your 5-second contractions or your 10 to 12 seconds with your 30 to 40, 50 to 60, and 100% contractions. So they're the first 2. So we've got adductors and we've got the hamstrings. From there, the last one we want to look at is the hip flexor. So this one's normally done on the ground. So that rear leg in that stretch position with your toe pointed, and you've got the lunge. When you first start off, by all means, brace yourself on your front leg. You can also use other props, chairs, milk crates, whatever you've got available, parallel bars to stabilise yourself, to help yourself with that. Once you get more comfortable, then you can take those away, and I'd encourage you to work up to that. When you're doing the lunge, just make sure that the knee does not go over the top of the toes. This is not good for your knee joint, and it's not going to give us the range of stretching that we want. So let that foot go out as far as you can. And then obviously once you increase your full range, then you can move out into a full front split and do the same thing. So that's that lunge, both obviously left and right. If you're going to do the ground variations, and this is I'll do the hamstring one first. Quite common in martial arts to see this seated position. You've got 2 legs. Let's work on both of them at the same time. So get them out to the side. Give yourself a bit of a nudge forward so those legs are out, and then you can alternate from one leg to the other. So you can do your 30 to 40, 50 to 60, 100%. Switch over to this leg and do the same thing, and you can keep cycling that. If you want to do both legs, you can do that. by working through the centre here, but I'd really just encourage you to keep working on one leg and then the other, and keep alternating. Your central nervous system will probably like you for that. The other one, as I said, was the adductors. So going from this knee out position, this is a little bit more gentle on your knees, as opposed to trying a full side split, which can sometimes put a bit of pressure on the knees, and if you find that uncomfortable, certainly have a go at this. From here, I'd look at working from a seated position where you're pushing these out and adding those contractions. So again, your 30 to 40%, 50 to 60, and your 100% for 5 or 10 to 12 seconds, those two methods. And then alternate and move down onto your elbows. Hopefully you can see them in the video there, where it's braced with your hips out. So work from that one and then this one. So keep switching those. So they're your three base stretches to work from, with those percentage rates. So 30 to 40 again, 50 to 60, 100%, using either 5-second contractions or 10 to 12-second contractions, and then relaxing and stretching. So that should get you started. By all means, add any other stretching that you wish to and use that method. But they're the base three that I think if you focus on those, you'll be quite pleased with the results that you get. That's the one that'll give you that side kick and those high round kicks and high front kicks that you're looking for. And good luck with it. Message me if you need to, if you need any further information. But that's our base program that we're using at Tas Wing Chun for all of our students, and see how you go with it. Thanks for listening. Take care. Thank you.